Hank Pearl here again with thedailyrock.com. Today I'm sitting on the tour bus of Triptykon, sitting with Mr. Thomas Gabriel Fisher, or as you might know him as, Mr. Tom G. Warrior. Sir, how are you?
Doing actually very good. After a show that was made fantastic by the crowd tonight in Chicago, how could I not be happy? The Chicago crowd has actually been consistently amazing for the bands I've been in, Celtic Frost and now Triptykon. Chicago was the location of the very first show Celtic Frost ever played in America, in the United States in 1986. And due to circumstances connected to our label at the time, it was a disaster show. We had to stop the show after like 6 songs or so. But after that first show, we only had fantastic concerts in Chicago, thanks to the crowd, of course. The band really feeds off what it gets from the crowd, from the adrenaline that you get from the crowd. And tonight was just like the last few times at Celtic Frost. It was an amazing crowd, and of course that spark went right back to us. And it's a give and take, of course. It was fantastic. It was magical. It was almost like a mass in church, so to speak. I love all the old stuff, of course, but I personally always wait for the point in the set when we launch into Synagoga Satanai.
Yeah.
And then followed immediately by the prolonging those 2 songs together, like 35 minutes. And it really is like some kind of occult mass that you celebrate with the fans. It transcends the ordinary concert. And if the fans get into it, the whole concert is taken to a different level. That's what happened today. It's amazing.
I always tell people that when they say, what religion are you? I typically oftentimes will tell them, I'm heavy metal, because we've got our heroes, we've got our villains, we've got martyrs, we've got
it's true. That's
morals
true,
and whatnot, and we have our rituals, and you have to pay to be part of it. So,
if anything, I think that the brotherhood in metal among the fans is much stronger than any conceived Christian brotherhood of some church, because it's a real brotherhood, and the metal fans, they live for their music. They don't pretend to do it. They don't run into church on Sunday just to fit in something. They actually live their lives' philosophy. So I think the brotherhood in metal is much stronger than any religion.
Undoubtedly, we all come in at our own volition and fight for it, and only just delve deeper and deeper.
Being a metal fan, you're automatically at the edge of society. You're being sidelined by many people in the society, and that alone forges you together with others.
Your lyrics are very poetic, very beautiful, can be very delicate, but yet at the same time you're attacking something. You have a force, you have a driving notion. And one of
on this album, yeah,
absolutely. And so 1,000 Lies was one song that totally stood out to me when I was listening to this album. And I read.
It's not the friendliest of songs.
No, it's not the friendliest, but you have a very eloquent way of stating your mind. Anyone can say fuck you.
Yeah, exactly.
But to create something like this,
to be angry in a poetic manner.
Absolutely, have a great sophistication to it. Because you said, "You caused my sweat to drop as blood, soiling this meager ground of sacred mud. Your mind depraved, you've crucified yourself upon my barren grave. My fingers tenderly caress your face. I shall preserve my hatred until the end of days. I've conceived you, I've destroyed you. You were stillborn inside of me." Who are we talking to?
Franco says the last drummer of Celtic Frost who destroyed the band. That motherfucker with his gargantuan ego run amok. Guy who betrayed me a millionfold, stabbed me in my back whenever I turned around. After touring the world on the strength of my music, becoming famous on the strength of my music, and all he did was lie to me and badmouth me. Even to my closest friends. My anger towards him is infinite.
So there will never be any resolve between the two of you?
No.
Okay.
No, why should there be? He's shown his true face. I know he's never going to change. I don't expect people to kneel in the mud and thank me. Not at all. I mean, ask anybody in Triptykon. They, in a way, also owe their career to me, but we have a friendship. I don't ask them to thank me. They don't ask me for anything. We are friends. We give each other what we can. Everybody gives whatever they can for the benefit of one project. We are together. It's a family. We pull together and we enjoy it tremendously. In Celtic Frost, one of the people took only and as a thank you, stabbed the others in the back. He also did this to Martin, but of course much more to me. No, there's never going to be a resolve. To me, a band needs to be loyal. Otherwise, why you call it a band? You know, the very meaning of the word band. No, there's not going to be a resolve, and of course I word my anger more eloquently than him. He would have worded it quite differently, but I tend to think that my mind works a little differently than his, so I worded it as slightly more poetic.
Understood.
My anger is infinite, though.
I understand. And the one other track that really just blew my mind, Myopic Empire. Can you explain your inspiration behind that song as well?
It's well, the whole album is extremely personal. It's a very personal track. I wrote the original lyrics for Myopic Empire after Celtic Frost first fell apart in '93, and I was torn by no longer having a writing partnership with Martin Hain, with whom I had created music ever since we were teenagers. And I wrote the turmoil of feelings down in a song back then as a demo called Relinquished Body. Unfortunately, history seems to repeat itself, and Celtic Frost fell apart again, and it was time to record this song in earnest. The title is slightly different, but the topic's still the same. It's my feelings about losing a partnership, a creative partnership that has had a tremendous effect on my life, a friendship that was once very deep, and that without that friendship I wouldn't be where I am, I wouldn't be who I am. Of course, you don't just lose such a friendship without any emotions. So I tried to somehow express what I felt in that song.
This year has been a very interesting year for metal. We've had some great albums released. We've also had to say goodbye to some heavy hitters in the heavy metal world.
Very true.
As such, as someone else who's very much higher up there, when eventually you push off of this mortal coil, as someone who has contributed so much to the heavy metal world, to various subgenres including death, doom, thrash, and black, what sorts of factors or aspects would you gladly take pride in contributing, and what sorts of aspects would you dare to never want to be associated with?
Look, that's not the way I look at myself.
Okay.
At the end of the day, I'm simply a musician who's extremely passionate about this form of music. I've given my life to metal, and I love this music. I'm a die-hard fan of this music to this day. And if anything, I'm surprised that I've been able to do this all my life. I'm in my mid-40s, and when I was in my teenage years, this was a dream of mine. I never thought it would come through, and now I'm still living it. That alone is a huge honor. So I don't really think of myself as having a legacy after my death, or as being some kind of whatever legend or so nowadays. This is like 100 miles removed from how I work as a human being. I'm just happy when I can create music when I have my guitar. And this is very honest. I'm not just trying to project an image. This is who I am.
Absolutely.
So when I'm dead, I'm dead. I don't believe in an afterlife. I don't do this to create some kind of legend, Tom Warrior. It matters to me what happens now. I want to write good music. I'm extremely proud of Triptykon's first album, with the fantastic artwork by Vincent Castiglia and by H.R. Giger. I'm very happy with the music that's on here, and that's what counts. I'm alive now, and I'll try to make as many good albums while I'm alive, because that's what makes me happy, and apparently the fans too.
Then instead of focusing on death, let me ask you, are you satisfied with your life?
I am incredibly lucky to be able to do all this. As I said earlier, I never thought, I had a very difficult background, and I never thought any of this would ever come true. It was a daydream. It has come true, and I'm extremely blessed that this has come true, and there's not a day that I don't think of that. You can ask anybody on this bus, my crew, my romance, my band. Everybody knows that almost every day I say, this is amazing that we're here, even after all these years.